Hey guys, so I thought I'd go ahead and make a video about being an animal control officer and what exactly it is that I do for my job. So a lot of people don't know everything that animal control officers do. Mostly they just think that we run around and chase stray dogs and cats and catch them. Which is part of our job, is we do get stray animals. So if you have a dog wandering around your neighborhood, we'll come out there and we'll try to catch it. We also deal with aggressive animals, owned animals, some also things people obviously don't think that animal control does. So say there's an elderly person who passes away, we have to get their pets out of their house. So anytime there's any sort of death and there's pets, we have to get them. Obviously we can't just leave them in a vacant house to starve. So anything involving a death that police might need our assistance with. Also, animals can get kind of aggressive over their owners' bodies. I have not had that happen to me yet, but I also haven't had that many calls for those kinds of situations. Homicides, suicides, arrests. If anybody ever has like an animal in their car with them and they get, pulled over and arrested, we get the animals for them and we hold them until they get out. That's happened to me once with a woman who got a DUI. And just a lot of different, very random situations. So like I have my, you can't see it through my hair, my police radio. So if the police ever need assistance, they call me on this. So like if the police are trying to make entry into an apartment and there's a dog, or if they see an aggressive dog that's chasing people or something, I will get called and I'll go out there and help them. Sometimes also police officers will catch stray dogs and call us to come pick them up. So we got to go out to wherever they are, pick them up, take them back to the shelter. Our shelter is actually run by a separate company that's like not us. So we basically do all the intake paperwork. We get the animals, and then once we take them back to the shelter, they get taken care of by the other organization. So that's kind of nice, not having to worry about everything about cleaning kennels, feeding, all that stuff. We can just focus on our job that we need to do. For the most part, we have calls that come in from residents, and a lot of times it's there's a dog loose on my street. I don't know if it's aggressive, or a majority of the time it's animal bites. So if somebody gets bit by a dog or a cat, even if it's your own animal, we just have to make sure that the animal that bit has its rabies shot. Technically I am a public health employee, so we just make sure that animals are up to date on shots, that no one's getting rabies, because that's bad. Don't spread that around. We will also pick up wildlife if it is in someone's home to where it poses a danger to them. So if you ever get a raccoon or a bat in your house, we get a lot of bats, lots of bats. I love bats. I think they're awesome. We do that kind of stuff. We don't do like animals that are outside the house because that's wildlife. That would be a like wildlife thing. We don't pick up dead animals on the road. That's that would be like a road Department of Transportation situation. And we don't dispose of dead pets for people. We cannot give them like if someone's dog's injured, we can't take the dog to the vet for them. Yeah, and then if we also get a call, say somebody wants to get rid of their dog, they want to surrender it, and they don't have means to bring it up to the shelter themselves, we will go get it for them, and we will have them sign over that animal to us. We don't get owner surrenders a ton. We mostly just deal with animal bites. So at least where I work, we do a 10-day quarantine period, whether it's at our shelter or if it's in the person's home. So like if it's, you're roughhousing with your dog and they accidentally, nip ya, we just go out there and we say, hey, we get it, you were playing, it was an accident, but we're just going to have you keep an eye on him for 10 days at home. Call us if anything's wrong, basically. If the dog is out running loose, or say it's like aggressively attacking people or chasing people, it's not on your property anymore, you don't have control of the animal, we actually will do the quarantine at our shelter. And that is just a safety precaution, because who knows what they could have gotten into or what happened. They could have, I don't know, I guess encountered a rabid raccoon or something, I don't know. But if it's running loose, person doesn't have control of the dog, we do it at the shelter. We also will take the animal in for the 10 days if it is not up to date on its rabies. It's actually a county ordinance for all animals to have their rabies shots and be current on rabies, because that is a very serious disease. We need to make sure that doesn't, spread around anywhere. So, we do that, and then some days I don't have a lot of calls or a lot of things to do. So, like, right now I am hanging out at a park waiting for my next call, just kind of hanging out, driving around. Sometimes I'll just drive around, look for stray dogs, wait to get calls, stuff like that. So yeah, it's not the most glorious, most interesting job in the world, but it's really fun. I really like it. I meet a lot of really cool dogs, a lot of really cool cats. I've gotten snake calls, copperheads. I've gotten bats, lizards, whatever. I mean, none of it bothers me anymore. But yeah, that's a majority of, I think, the things that we do. I would say that the hardest thing about this job is, number one, probably aggressive animals, because they will try to eat you alive. They will try. And then number two is just dealing with people. People probably give me the most problems, especially if we do have to confiscate the dog or something like that. We also do dangerous dog investigations. So if a dog gets out and injures somebody very, very badly, to where, like, you need surgeries, stuff like that, have a permanent, like, disability from it, or if a dog gets out and kills, like, another dog, so, like, if your dog went into your neighbor's yard and killed their little poodle, whatever, we would take that dog in then for a investigation. Dangerous dog investigations, just, like, they don't necessarily mean you can't have the dog. They just set extra rules in place, so when you get that dog back, there's certain things you have to do, like, you have to have a certain kind of kennel, you have to have a lock on the kennel, you have to, have a sign on the fence or on your door, just stuff like that. And we allow people to have dangerous dogs, but there's a lot of different regulations and whatever that has to go through with all of that. But yeah, I have my bulletproof vest on because people are insane, and you just never know. So people get very emotional, especially if it's like an older person and, you have to take their cat or their dog. I've had to take animals from, like, retirement homes, stuff like that. And we know that it's just for 10 days, but for that person whose animal you're taking, it is really hard, and it feels like it's so long. And it really is just for the animal's safety. Like, we need to make sure, like, your animal is safe and that you are safe with your animal. But obviously for the person, it is very emotional, and it's hard to let go of something like that. So a lot of times people don't want to give me their animals. So sometimes I have to ask for police assistance in getting an animal, or if the person's being, like, super uncooperative and argumentative, I'll have an officer there. I've had people lie to me, try to hide dogs, try to just anything they can to avoid us taking the dog, and it is frustrating trying to deal with all of that, but I mean, there's not much that I can do if people aren't going to be honest and aren't going to want to participate, and that is an issue that then gets passed on. Like, we can't force anyone to do the home quarantines, but if you say no, then that becomes a CDC problem, because the CDC is the one who sets up all these guidelines and stuff that we have to do for rabies. And so I don't know actually what they do if you say no, but I know if somebody's like, no, I don't want to participate, they will just report that to the CDC, and then I think the CDC has to follow up with them to make sure that they get their rabies exposure shots, I think, or something like that. We honestly don't care if it's like somebody gets bit by their own pet. I mean, we all have been there. We know it happens. Animals are crazy. It happens. So we don't fault dogs for that, or if the dog is on its own property. Like, I mean, I'm an animal control officer, and my dog's bitten people. So, a lot of us have had dogs that bite. But at the end of the day, I also have my dog to protect my house. So if my dog does think that there's a threat, then I would hope she would bite. But, you know, you gotta teach your pets, you know, who to bite and who not to bite. But, yeah, we honestly don't care. We don't fault the dog. We don't fault the owner for that. We get it. Stuff happens. And I think people always think we're gonna be super, like, abrasive or aggressive about it, or, like, the first incident ever, like, we're gonna come take your dog and you're never gonna see them again, when that's not the situation. We are more than happy to give the dogs back to the owners. We don't have a ton of capacity at our shelter, so we're happy to get them out there and get them home so that they're not stressed out, so that, you know, they're not, you know, freaking out with all these other dogs. And yeah, pretty much just that. One of the other things that I get asked a lot about my job, because we do deal with aggressive animals, is are we permitted to carry, like, firearms or weapons? And we are not. So we do not have any firearms or tasers. The only thing that we really have is our catch poles. And if you've ever seen, like, I don't know, ASPCA, whatever that show used to be called, those poles is what we use, and they're big metal rods. So in a situation in where I have an aggressive dog trying to attack me, my best line of defense is going to be using that pole to basically beat it. We do have bite gloves if we're ever trying to deal with something that bites, not like a dog, but like a cat, or if you know, like a small dog, like a little toy-sized dog, or cat, snakes, a bat, but we don't grab bats. We actually just use, like, styrofoam cups to catch bats, because they're very, very easy to catch. They really don't move. They don't do much of anything. You just, kind of like you would a house spider, you just put a cup over it and slide it on out the door. So bats are really easy, but I am not permitted to have any weapons on me. We also don't have body cameras, which I think that we need to be getting, because we do also investigate cases of animal neglect and abuse, and all of that footage would just be something else that could be used in that case when prosecuting. So I think that we should 100% have body cameras, as well as, just because people are crazy, I don't want people lying. People try to lie a lot and say, oh, she said this, she told me that, whenever we never said that. So, you know, it's a lot of different situations, but we don't have guns. They're thinking of giving us tasers, which honestly I think would be great, except you gotta get real close to use a taser, and I don't know that I want to get that close to an aggressive dog in order to use it, but I think it might also be more of a people deterrent than anything. So okay, so I actually didn't end up getting to finish recording the other day, just because I ended up getting a call and getting really busy. It was a call with a lot of deceased family members, and so that really sucked. Those calls really suck. They're very hard. But yeah, so basically that's just going to be a general description of everything that I do during the day. If you guys have questions, or if you want to know anything else, please feel free to ask. I don't really shy away from questions too much. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I'm doing during my days at work. So yeah, hopefully this was a little enlightening for you and you enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks for watching.